I don't know if I'm going insane, but something's going on. I don't know what, who, or why this is happening to me, but I don't deserve it at all. To be exact, someone is replacing things in my house. It was little things at first, a key, a book, but now it has all gone too far. I think it all started with the painting. I was at an auction, as I usually am, when I saw this exquisite painting out of the corner of my eye. I walked up to it, just because the whole auction started, and boy, was it amazing up close. It was a painting of a man in a yellow hat, and it was this odd mix between abstract and the impressionist. So I bought it. The auction didn't last very long. For some reason, no one else seemed to pay any mind to the painting, and I bought it. I guess it was made for me. So I went home, then had one of my well-paid assistants set it up. I exchanged a dreary old photo of me and my husband to this new painting of the man in the yellow hat. It was more inspiring, and the sheer sight of it made my day better. It evoked this sense of calmness, the yellows swirling with the reds. And then, the next day, it changed. It wasn't right. It was wrong. Very wrong. It looked almost the same, but now, it wasn't right. The pale man in the yellow hat had a cane, an old brown stick which was propped against the ground. Now, there was no cane. It was barely noticeable, but it was there. The cane was gone, but almost there, as if it had blended with the rest of the painting. Further, I could swear that the paint used in the image had changed somehow, as if it was a shade too dark. I suddenly realized that I had taken a photo of the painting yesterday, and I quickly found that it looked exactly like the one in front of me. There was no cane in the image, and the paint seemed just as dark as the one in front, so I ignored it. Truthfully, I chose to ignore it, not because I found it weird, but because I honestly like the painting better now. So, for the rest of the day, I enjoyed myself and had fun. The next thing that I noticed was that something was wrong with my bed. I woke up in a sweat, confused. It didn't feel right. It wasn't right. Something was wrong with it, and I quickly leapt up to see what was the matter. But still, even as I scoured the room, nothing was wrong except the bed. It was merely a pinch too hard, like the material had been swapped out whilst I slept. Chadwick? I called the next day. Chadwick worked for me as a cleaner, and he'd been in my service for a couple of years. "Can you check this bed?" "Of course." He pressed and prodded it. "What appears to be the matter, ma'am?" "Nothing, it just feels off somehow." "Not to me," he muttered. "Feels just as normal as before." But I swear something changed. I could just tell that something had surely changed. I just didn't know what. I passed the painting on my way to work outside, and instantly, I forgot about the whole ordeal, chalking it up to my imagination. The rest of the day passed without any problems, and soon I found myself back at home asleep. Then I heard it, the slam of a door closing. I instantly shot myself up, half awake, confused. That couldn't have been real, right? Wrong. I sat still as I heard steps just outside my room, walking in the main hall. I sat still as I heard a joyous whistling tune being played, as whoever was outside walked and hummed. And then I heard this awful scratching noise, like something being dragged across the wood. I covered my ears in response, the scratching getting louder and louder. It crescendoed, piercing my hands, and I felt like I was about to yell before it stopped. The noise was gone, the whistling, the steps, all gone, as if whatever was outside had vanished into thin air. I didn't see how going outside myself was a good idea, so I called the police, and moments later they arrived, knocking on my door. I used an app on my phone to open it, and soon they began searching the place, sweeping up and down. "We found no intruder," the leader explained. "We've been all through this house, and we've found nothing." "Are you sure?" I asked, confused. "I heard steps, whistling, and a door slamming shut." "Maybe it's the wind," he explained. "And that tree outside could have made the stepping noise." He gestured to a massive old tree outside, a branch lightly tapping against the window. I guess so. But what about the door slamming shut? And the scratching?" I questioned. "Ma'am, maybe you dreamt that. You said you were half asleep. The brain can fill in some very disturbing details." "Thank you anyways," I decided. "Better safe than sorry," joked the officer. "Thanks for the help, I'll be okay now." But I was not okay. As soon as they left, I looked around, a knife in my hand just in case. But I didn't find any intruder, not even a single print, a hair, nothing to show that anything had changed. I looked up at the painting as I searched. Somehow, it didn't seem all that inspiring anymore. The man in the yellow hat always had this calming smile. But now, well, it was more of a menacing sneer. And then, just as I was about to return myself to sleep, I saw it. A coffee table. It wasn't my coffee table that was there. No, it couldn't have been. My coffee table was wooden, brown, original. And this thing that was there wasn't. It was cold, black, and fake. Someone, whoever was in my house, had replaced it. I was sure of it this time. Yet, as I checked my phone for proof, looking for an image of me and my husband taking a selfie in my house, the photograph showed a black plastic coffee table. Not at all what I was sure it was supposed to be. It had been replaced, just like my bed and the painting. Someone had been in my house, slammed the door, walked over to it, and somehow replaced it with this thing. I looked back at the changed painting. It still sneered at me. I didn't like it anymore, and I draped a white cloth over it, hiding the horrid thing from view. No, it wasn't good. The next time one of my assistants was over, I'd have them replace it with the photograph of me and my husband again. I woke up the next day, refreshed. I made myself some juice, then some pancakes. Actually, I was having a pretty good time until I saw it. The painting. The white sheet I draped around it was gone, fallen to the floor. But no, it wasn't just fallen. It had fallen so perfectly that it was as if someone had purposely taken it down, then made it into a neat circle under the painting. Someone who perhaps had been in my house for the next few days. Whatever was causing this did me no harm. It all stopped. Everything. Except for the painting, bed, and table. and I didn't sense that anything had changed. For a week or so, the painting finally inspired me yet again, and I was able to do my job as a writer. That week must have been the most productive week of my life, because by the end of it, I'd finished my research paper. And then, merely a week since it stopped, it started again. I woke up at first thinking nothing was wrong. No, everything was fine until I got into work, snapped open my laptop, and opened my research paper. It was wrong. The words, ever slightly, had been changed. It was as if someone had completely plagiarized my work, just changing simple sentences, phrases and words here and there, making it sound just almost like my work. "Hey, Constance." My lab assistant, a person named Quint Magnus, called. "I just read your new draft. The new paper looks awesome." "The new draft?" I asked, confused. "Yeah, you sent me that file on your laptop last night," they exclaimed. "I just read it. Looks awesome. I think it's your best paper yet." "I wrote this?" I murmured, confused. "Amazing, isn't it?" I am certain I did not write that paper. Someone or something had deliberately changed things. I don't know how or why, but someone is doing this to me. What makes it worse is the paper was a success. The university I worked at loved me. In fact, I got several awards for it the same day. The next thing I noticed was when I finally got home a sheer 2 days later. The university had me traveling to a nearby town to present my paper, and by then I had no idea what had happened. The first thing I noticed was my wedding ring. In my haste, I'd accidentally slipped it off and put it on top of the coffee maker before I departed for the nearby town. It had been replaced. It was almost where I had left it, only a few degrees off. Something else was wrong too. The diamond. It was different. My husband had bought me the cheapest diamonds he could find. We weren't as rich as we are now, and he'd scrambled just enough money to buy it. But now, the ring was glamorous, a shining paragon of art. It was wrong. It felt plastic, unoriginal. It was without love. And then I saw something else that had changed. It was a suit of my husband's I'd always kept hanging as a decoration, but it wasn't how I'd remembered. There was an extra gold button now, and it seemed longer than usual. This wasn't right at all. I phoned my friend Cassie, and she came over as soon as possible. But just like I secretly expected, she thought nothing of it, claiming it was just as she remembered. As she inevitably left, I looked back at the painting, smiling back at me in an evil sneer. I would have had one of my assistants change it back, but apparently the company which lended me assistance had abruptly gone bankrupt right before I left to present my paper. So I did the next best thing to do. I called my husband. He was always on a business trip, but he'd be coming back tomorrow afternoon. I told him everything about the intruder, the noises, things being replaced, yet nobody noticing. He didn't seem to believe me, though he tried to act like he did. I even showed him the ring, but he just reminisced on the past, telling me a tale of buying the ring that was not at all how I remembered it. There was nothing I could do now but sleep and wait for my husband to come home. I heard it almost immediately, a slam of my door, quick footsteps, then silence. I knew the police wouldn't come back, And even if they did, I don't think they would have believed me. I went outside my room to catch the intruder, but instead, nothing. Nothing had been changed. I heard something to the left of me, and I turned just in time to see my open door slam. Yet, I saw nobody running out. I checked the cameras monitoring the door, but nothing. It hadn't moved an inch. An hour later came the doorbell. I looked at my phone when it buzzed. A text from my husband. "I'm home." The front door began to open, as I finally rejoiced that he was home. Back from the trip, finally I could tell him in perfect detail of the events of the past few days. I could have him remove the painting, replace it with the one of us on the wall, and then everything would be alright. We'd fix things, make it the way it was before, and everything would be fine. Nothing would be changed anymore, and the door opened, revealing a tall man whom I didn't know. "Who are you?" I yelled, the kitchen knife in my hand raised up high. "It's me, your husband." He responded confused, taking a step back. No, you don't even." I realized just then what had happened, and quickly I rushed over to my room, searching for the original photo. I looked through boxes and boxes, files and files, and finally found the original photo that I had taken down. And to my utmost fear, it had changed.